a god.
I got loyalty inside my DNA. I got loyalty inside my DNA. I got peace, got war and peace inside my DNA. I got poison, pain, and joy inside my DNA.
死んだ天性
I was talking this is wild. Immaculate conception that your family is perform like this without you when you weapon. I know you. I meditated on your positive. It's that it's that I got loyalty inside my DNA. I got poison, pain, and joy inside my DNA.
何度もいい加減おとなしく切られやがれ
I was talking this is one of this immaculate conception that your family is perform like this without you when you weapon. I know you. I meditated on your positive. It's that it's the big. It's that I got loyalty.
キレキン
穴があったら入りたい
Loyalty inside my DNA.
That is a very hype opening. That's how you like get the crowd moving. Like I know they'd be like, it's so provocative. It gets to people going. It does. It gets me going every time. Welcome back, you guys. We are here. We are live. We are back from, well, literally last night. It's been a while since we've been this consistent, but we're going to keep coming at y'all this consistently. I am Maul, your favorite friendly neighborhood menace, joined today by Judge D. Introduce yourself, Judge D.
What do you mean, introduce myself? I'm here all the time in the trap house, Judge D, presiding over anime court this evening. J. Will.
What up, though? I usually
So normally we wouldn't all be here, and it's cool. Normally we here presenting something else. We normally doing our whole trap house thing. Today we are here for the X-Men. Dun, 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 dun. All right, that's all I can do before we get taken down. But we are here for none other than the super teams we talked about yesterday. And today we're going to talk about an OG super team on this Grandparents' Day. We're going to talk about a bad father on this Grandparents' Day. And normally when you go to bad fathers, you're like, Goku.
I object. Slander.
You are starting really early because we haven't even.
You are coming out.
We haven't even established who we're talking about yet. You're building up a case before we even introduce the man.
Hey, listen. The man needs no introduction. He rolls into every room, and you just know he did because he might be reading your mind as he comes through, knowing that you were expecting him. We are talking about none other than Professor Charles Xavier.
Rolls into every room, wild.
Rolls. Can't say he walks because, like, that only happens sometimes because Leggy McGee don't feel like making his legs move. So
he is a telepath, not a the amount of
is he not both?
disrespect. No, he's not both. Gene is both. Professor X is not both.
Let's go. So let's introduce our defendant first, since that's how we're gonna be going after this here. List of accolades of the defendant Charles Xavier, or rather the list of charges. Let's go to that. Let's not
list of charges. I'm not patting this motherfucker on the back in court.
Well, I mean, I'm trying to also not establish.
You don't have to be disrespectful.
I'm confused.
You're just kind of lying.
Because I mean, as far as the public perception of the man is concerned, I'm trying to. We're gonna go ahead and try and take that out, but I am confused.
Look, I am already on a downhill battle or an uphill battle. because
Yeah,
the country don't want him to be great and to let people be great together. But we'll get there.
we'll get there.
Be great is wild when all the stuff that he does, but like we'll talk about all the
We'll
things
get
and the
there.
alleged
We'll get
things that
there.
he's been accused of.
We
Judge, can we get a list of charges, please?
We've got 3 charges here today. Child endangerment,
Yep,
harboring of weapons of mass destruction,
yep.
and the conscription of a child soldier army.
Mm.
These are some charges, man.
These are some charges. But
So, I mean, I need you to go ahead and explain yourself on these. I mean, you're the one who's levying these charges, so you've got the floor.
all right, Your Honor. So I'd like to introduce you to one Professor Charles Xavier, who not only runs a school with a private fucking jet underneath it, and let's not forget where this school is stated. It's stated to be in New York. Now, Your Honor, we were just in New York, right?
Yeah.
Would you say that New York is open and free, or would you say it's an island where everybody's on top of each other?
New York City is definitely that, but where exactly is the mansion?
Your Honor, I object. The X mansion is in upstate New York.
Upstate New York is still
It's not in
federal.
New York City. It's not on an island. It's on the mainland.
So upstate New York, is that federal flight? How's those federal airlines, Your Honor? They allow private citizens to just pull out a jet fucking pilot to just fly around wherever,
If you got the money.
darting children all the way around the country because they have a mission to accomplish. Does that allow for someone to just jump in the jet and say, hey, I genetically discovered that you might be, and I quote, not Homo sapien, Homo superior, as he likes to tell them. So they're already put on a pedestal and made
I
to feel
object.
not that they are
I
different,
object
but better.
again because he does not use the term Homo superior. That is the term used by Magneto, not Professor X. It sounds like you're not really aware of my client at all.
All right.
Would your client not merge with the same Magneto, one Magnus, to make an onslaught? That wasn't your boy?
We're
What?
talking about, before we get into that, we're talking about the child endangerment charges.
So the child endangerment part comes in from these dangerous missions that the X-Men are routinely sent on to go fight crime, fight whatever, fight against America, because they essentially get hunted down almost every time. You can't roll out with Wolverine looking like this anywhere, like ever.
So, what's the age on these defense? Do you know?
Most of the X-Men are either in their late teens. Most of the X-Men that go on missions regularly are in their late teens or older. Some are in their 20s. Logan is older. But most of the regular X-Men that go on missions are of age. And anyone that is at the X Mansion is either a runaway orphan or has been given away by their custodial parents.
Promise to live in a safer environment where they can come up and be brought up in a safe place for them and be taught by people that look like them. Except then they're used to go on these missions to bring peace and justice and like fight. Right? Is that not endangering them?
I mean,
That's not the same thing that you sat down with me and told me my child was going to go through.
Do you have a specific?
Because when he met up with Jean Grey, Jean had
Are
mental blocks on her.
revolutionaries, and you're a Republican, and you don't want the revolution.
Hold
These
on.
missions are peace missions.
Hold on.
I'm
I'm
sorry if they
independent.
have to defend themselves on a regular basis from
Now you're attacking
racists.
the actual plaintiff. That's just rude.
My bad, I ain't hear you.
So we can't be out here attacking the actual plaintiff, the prosecutor.
I
Right.
feel like the attacking the plaintiff is perfectly apt. Had my client been one Magneto, he'd agree with me, but we are not on that side of the fence today. We sit with a man who chooses peace, who chooses togetherness and wants for the
So,
country
so,
itself as Americans to come together and not just be humans versus mutants,
so your
Did
as
he choose
my
that
plaintiff
with
would have it.
Negasonic in his forehead?
hold on. So your response to the child endangerment charges then?
My response to the child endangerment charges is this: no one is being forced to go on any of these missions. All of these missions are essentially Peace Corps missions, missions that they go on that are not that do not have adults or that do not have adults are usually missions to recruit other members or recruit or save other mutants, and they have to defend themselves from a racist country on a regular basis. The country is putting them in danger, not my client.
Right. But when you go out and you rescue, or when you're bringing in these children that look ordinary on the outside, they could still fit in. You could tell them, hey, I could suppress your powers the same way I did such and such. That's a possible
Oh,
option. He chooses not to do that.
that's another very Republican response from you. Suppress your actual true self and fit in with everybody else to just look normal. Never come to your own full fruition. Never learn to control yourself. Just fit in enough with everybody else. Very Republican of
When the
you.
world is trying to kill you, yes, I would absolutely take fitting in over the world trying to kill me, or the world
So
trying
the
to
world
murder
trying to kill
mankind.
me because I look different. I'm sorry, not because
No.
I look different, just because I am different is better.
What would your other option be? Be hunted down for being Negasonic Teenage Warhead? Because that's a literal name.
Maybe listen to my clients. Maybe listen to my client and us live together in brotherly love.
Next
Maybe
on
we treat each
Or
other as equals.
wild ass alias.
have you ever heard of the story of the worst X-Men? The X-Man who had the X gene and he had one specific superpower. He could only blow up one time and make a bomb only the size of himself. He was a 5'10" average man, just a regular dude. So he could only make a regular dude size bomb and only take out maybe one person. That was his whole power. And yet he was
And
classified
what
and
part about
qualified
this?
as a mutant.
So this is the guy that you wanted to just hide his powers and go out amongst society with no type of control or training.
Bro could explode himself one time
He
and kill
could.
himself.
He
That was it.
he
That was
could.
his whole
Did
power.
he tell me about it? Did he? What did he do with
Yeah.
this power? It, who did he kill? Was it
He killed the
intentional?
bad guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. It's a good thing that he had a good peaceful leader to, if you have to use your power and you have to go out, you go out taking out the people who are, trying to hurt people.
Yeah, you didn't
So
read the story.
which part of this is bad?
So the bad
I
part
didn't read
was
the
the
story. I
fact that
went off what you just told me.
he was
You
there
told me
and
he
he
could
was
make a
told
bomb and he could
to.
blow himself up, but he blew up the bad guy. That's
Ultimately,
what
we're
you just
talking
said.
about a murder that somebody else committed. Then, so back
His power
as
was he
far
was a suicide bomber.
what's that?
His power was that he was a suicide bomber. That was
Which
it.
is
What does that
unfortunate.
have to do with my client?
That's a
Your
little
Tell me
client
what that
sought
has to
this
do with my
man out
client.
and told him that's your power. Why was
So
that
if
even
he
worth
was to just
finding
be
him
a
for?
because if he was just out in society delivering the mail and he blew up on a city street
But he would have to consciously blow up.
unknowingly, he if
Consciously.
he had control of it, if he had control of it, what if he didn't know? What if he just got mad enough one day? What if
And just
something
blew up.
happened to him and he just blew up because nobody told him that's what he would do if he got mad, or that's what would happen if he lose control? Professor
Yeah, I'm
Xavier
not
is
buying
all
that.
about helping people establish control of their powers.
How
You are
much control
different.
did he
You
help?
can't help that you're different. Control yourself.
How much help did Wolverine get when he was out here murdering people under his control? How much help did he give
How much help did he
to
get? How much help did he get from the U.S. government and the Canadian government when they were making him murder people and scrubbing his memory,
this isn't about the government, this is about
implanting
Professor.
implanting metal on his bones?
So when he implanted the memories inside of Jean Grey and she killed all those people, whose fault is that?
Wait, who implanted memories in Jean Grey?
Charles Xavier.
I don't remember
It's
this one.
not on the list of charges, but this is
It's
information.
He
not. It's not
repressed
at
her
all.
powers and he implanted the memories that's all that she could do. And he called her Marvel Girl and told her, this is what you can do. There was a limit to her powers because if they grew too much, then they would be too dangerous. You by
So
his
you're
and his
saying,
actions and his words.
so really what you said a minute ago was that he could just suppress people powers and they'd be okay and they can fit in with society. It sounds like he did that. It didn't work out. So he's teaching people to control themselves and control their powers.
Suppressing a suicide bomber and suppressing the world's most powerful telepath are two separate things, and those are two separate polar opposites of each other. You can't say the suicide
How?
bomber is on the same level as because it's a suicide bomber. It is a person meant to blow themselves up versus someone meant to save other people.
The Phoenix is not necessarily meant to save people. Phoenix Force is
Jean was meant to save
constantly
people. The Phoenix was
assumed
not
as a
meant to save
destructive
people.
force.
Also,
So
the Phoenix is
I
a
get the
force.
feeling. I
It's
get
not.
the feeling that this is moving into that harboring weapons of mass destruction charge here. So go ahead and explain what you mean by suppressing with the whole thing with the suppressing the Marvel Girl. So basically, from what I understand of it, Marvel Girl was Jean Grey's like alias back when she was a kid, more or
Mhm.
less,
Back
right?
when she was a teenager and he made Team X-Men Gold and then they became blue. Like there were several iterations of the X-Men team because the iterations kept dying off and changing.
That's what
Never
happens when
forget
you're
how
constantly
many
attacked by the
times,
U.S. government.
or when he got Cyclops' brother killed and he came back, or how many times has Wolverine just gone off because his mind wasn't there and he started murdering people? How
Is
many
that
times has
Professor X's
somebody
fault or is that the U.S. and Canadian government's fault? Professor X did not cause that mental trauma to Wolverine. He
he
regularly
didn't call it,
helps
but
to
he didn't
try to
help him?
correct it.
He came to
Huh?
him for help, and he never got that help. He turned him into a member of his team so he can keep continuing missions under his role.
And he could
He's seen a
continue his
weapon
help
and
because it
molded it
wasn't
to
a
his needs.
one-time fix.
He's seen a weapon and molded it. When he seen Cyclops, he molded her.
Wow. That's wild. That is a wild take. That's a very
Listen,
wild take.
even Deadpool was an X-Men. So at this point, you're telling me that you take in mercenaries, you'll take in runaways, and you'll put them under the same roof, and everybody's cool with it.
It sounds to me that he's a bit closer to Jesus because he also hung out with all of the world's undesirables and gave them a greater purpose.
Jesus hung out with hookers, and he hung out with
Yeah,
Magneto. This is not the same thing.
Jesus hung out with hookers, the tax man, abusers.
Like, come on, my boy. I've been called everything. I've been called a Republican today. Now you bringing Jesus into this? Like,
I'm just saying, his Jesus views align with my clients' views. They want
so
peace.
did Martin
They
Luther
want
King. And
people to
Martin
be
Luther
equal
King thought
across the board.
absolutely. And equal does not always mean equitable because you can get equal treatment and you don't need equal treatment. We can all get hot water, but you ain't got no noodles to cook it with your hot water. So now we all got hot water, but only I got noodles. Is that equal or equitable? Because what you want is equitability. They don't need equality.
We
They want to be
we
treated
understand
the
we
same.
can be We can be equal and equitable, but as mutants, we're too busy getting hunted down by the government, sending giant robots to a residence to kidnap and kill children. Are we not talking about that part of it?
The children that are
Or
being
are they trying to
manufactured
suppress
warhead,
this
or
child army that you're accusing us of?
the Iceman that can change the fucking polar vortex because he felt like it, because he was being controlled by another X-Man that was infiltrating your ranks. Or did you forget that Bobby became an alpha mutant, alpha level mutant, or omega level mutant instead of an alpha level mutant when he was brain controlled by Emma Frost, who at one point still worked next to all of the bigger named X-Men continuously?
Was Emma Frost an X-Men when she did it? Was or
Yes.
was her intentions that of of Charles Xavier?
No, because
Or
she was
did
under
she
the
do what
direct
Charles said?
she was under the direct orders to protect and save and help the X-Men thrive and continue. Because Charles was lost in a future where Charles was all trying to get some alien booty.
So
Because
he
let's
wasn't
not
even
forget,
there. You just said my client wasn't even there when these things happened. You can't fault my client for that.
mentally, he was there physically. His body never left.
If he was there mentally, then he was incapable.
This is the world's greatest telepath. You mean to tell me the world's greatest telepath is incapable?
Physically, kinda, yeah.
But
He's a
mentally,
telepath, not a telekinetic. Those are two different powers. One is able to touch minds. The other one is able to move things physically. Charles
right.
Xavier, if he wasn't there mentally, then being a telepath has nothing to do with it. He wasn't there.
Nah, my boy, you're not getting out of this one because there are telepaths and then there's Charles Xavier. Charles Xavier was on the next level of telepaths. And being on that next level of telepaths, you could do just about whatever the fuck you want. You've seen it. You can recognize from the movies where he had a man thinking he was a ballerina. Now, you mean to tell me you can make this man believe he's a ballerina? You can't tell these people, hey, da 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 da. You're not quarterbacking the missions because he was.
I have a question. When it comes down to the specifics of Xavier's power, aren't they affected by distance?
Yes,
No.
he's not an all powerful telepath that can just reach across the world with no help. That is what
Yeah, but he
Cerebro
has,
is for. Cerebro expands his powers.
Okay.
and he
So
uses his cerebro to expand his powers.
no,
He
facts,
made
facts,
this
facts. I'm
machine
not
to be
Okay.
able to
I'm
expand
not
his
gonna say
powers.
I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that's not a fact because that's how he coordinates missions when he's not able to be on the ground. I'm aware of Cerebro, how that thing works. But when he doesn't have Cerebro, did he have Cerebro when he was off chasing the alien movie? I need to know because
Yeah.
that's kind of the crux.
How did he have Cerebro if he wasn't at the X Mansion?
So he didn't have cerebro, but the Shire made him something that was able to communicate, such as or similar to cerebro.
So what was his point? What was his use of it?
His
When
use
he
of it
got
was to
access to this power,
communicate
what did he
with
do
his
with it?
X-Men. His use of it was to be able to communicate and formulate plans. No matter where he went, he was always able to communicate with them. Like, listen,
Not at
this
every point,
nigga,
but you're not telling me what he did when he had Cerebro in this specific instance.
when he had cerebro in this specific instance, he coordinated missions in order to make sure that the world or the planet or his team was safe according to his instruments. He had them fighting on meteors. He had them fighting against a man on an island because you can't even say Magneto was ever there. And he had Magneto take over in his place. So a man who believed that mutants were Homo superior and not Homo sapiens, like everybody else, not equal, but better, was then the leader. So if you're placing all of your nukes, all of your weapons, all of your resources in the hands of a man who went from being a Nazi internment camp survivor to
So a man
being
that recognizes the ugly of the world already.
hey, I'm not saying whether Magneto was right or wrong. All I'm saying
What I'm
is
What I'm saying is he was put in that position over the X-Men, and what did he do? Did he turn them as weapons and say we're going to destroy the world, or did he try to live up to the honor that he had for his friend Charles Xavier in his death?
And how'd that go? Didn't that all turn
Did,
into him creating an
was
island
it his
and getting
fault?
pissed off?
Was it his fault? Or was he constantly being under scrutinized by the world? He turned himself in as a war criminal.
Yeah.
He said, if we can't get along with y'all, I will make a place that y'all don't even have to see us. We will be out the way and do our own thing. And what did America do? You can't have that because one day you're gonna come here, and they blew it up.
Should have got some Wakandan tech. Because you had all the technology, all the force fields, everything else, and everybody to be able to make everything. You can basically do
So it's
whatever you
our
want.
fault. So it's his fault for not protecting himself good enough.
I
In
mean,
in trying to talk peace, it's his fault for not protecting himself good enough.
And you just tried to leverage Wakanda tech like that was something that no. Wakanda
so
barely
you
want
don't.
to trade with Wakanda barely want to trade with people on the planet, let alone a meteor. How do you think that was going to go if that conversation happened?
Don't they have a representative that was married to a representative of the king?
We're talking about the X-Men 97 canon. That didn't happen.
If we're
You
talking
spreading out you
X-Men,
over a lot of different timelines, brother.
Right. It's like the
You trying.
X-Men 97 canon, bro. You can't just be going bringing Wakanda you can't just go be bringing Storm being married to T'Challa into this. We ain't talked about Black Panther one time this entire thing.
we should have.
No, just because they was a
So if
part
we're
of.
going off of X-Men 97, then let's talk about how Rogue killed Captain Marvel and there were no real consequences. Not from his side, not from anybody's side. She was a member of the X-Men at that time.
I
Let's talk
mean,
about how he sent out Wolverine,
we're
knowing that
talking
Wolverine
about
was doing dangerous shit. Let's talk about how Jubilee was 14 and consistently put into dangerous situations and never once protected, never told, yo, I got you. You should sit the fuck down. From him. Let's talk about how at this point, at any time that he kept putting them into these dangerous and reckless situations, all he kept saying was, I'm sorry, my X-Men. And
Because
kept putting them
he
in it.
said I'm sorry because he constantly puts them in situations where he wanted them to fight for a better world, and the better world did not want them. That's why he constantly apologized, because he couldn't keep them safe from the world.
And how did he fight for a better world?
Even though he tried to give these people a place to train and become themselves and become the safest version of themselves. Because Professor Xavier is not just a teacher at a school. This man took in orphans. He's been fathers to people. He's been therapists to people. He's been a professor to people to teach them how to control themselves better. Nobody gets it right every time. Everything isn't just going to turn out okay, especially when okay is, I'm not actually sure what okay looks like when the world is literally sending giant robots to kill you.
Doesn't he have a
But
child that he's not being a good parent to? Isn't that child
we're
dangerously
not here for
reckless?
child support. Well, I
I'm
don't
just,
know nothing about that. We're not here for child support.
but he can take in everybody else's child but his own. This powerful
Was he
telepath that has,
how aware was he of this child?
after being made aware of his child, did he do anything about his child?
You tell me. I don't know. Because I don't see
Absolutely fuck
Professor
no.
Xavier just saying, hey, I got a kid out here, but not doing nothing. Not at least seeing where his kid at. I'm sure his kid is a mutant. I'm sure he'd check up on that.
Legion is a
Not
mutant.
sure what
Legion's a
timeline you
powerful
talking about
telepath.
now, but huh?
And every timeline, he's always had Legion with Moira McTagg.
Maura McTagg, the lady who's running the island over in Scotland. But in the 97 timeline, isn't she married to the Banshee Shriek?
Yes, but she still had the baby.
Is it Xavier? So is it Xavier kid?
In the 97 that they talked about this, wasn't it? Because I don't remember. I only seen it like once.
I don't remember either.
I did a rewatch in '97 after it was coming out. Like once it was confirmed to come back.
Wait.
I just watched
I
97.
lie. Hold on. What's the name of the kid? Legion. I think I know who you're talking about. It's the guy that does
has like 7 personalities, and each one has a different power because he's a telepath and he manifests different personalities of himself.
I thought that was. Oh no, the guy I'm thinking of is Mora's daughter, is Mora's son with the politician. That's who I was thinking of.
Yeah, nah, that's his.
So once again, I'm trying to figure out how this falls into the child endangerment thing.
So the child endangerment thing is Jubilee's 14 and she's allowed to go on these dangerous missions where she was promised to her parents, literally episode 2, that he would keep her safe and that nothing would come of this. Every time, almost every other episode, she's in danger. She's passing out. She's damn near dying. She's 14.
It sounds like she's still alive. She's completed her training, and up to the second season, she's still there.
One second. I was double checking the Legion situation. Moira is not Legion's mom. Some lady named Gabrielle Haller is.
Harpo, who that woman? Who that woman? I don't know her.
You know he doesn't understand these references.
She was a catatonic Holocaust survivor, and she was woken up by Charles Xavier, and she fell in love with him. Magneto oversaw her recovery, and when she got kidnapped, Xavier and Charles went and saved her from Hydra. It's a story there apparently, but it's not Moira McTaggart is my point here. So Legion is not in the 97 canon. That's why I was trying to figure out. Like, I don't remember this, man. I don't.
All right, so he's not in the 97 canon, but he's in the 616 universe. So I'm gonna drop that one. However, I will say in the 97 universe, there are several children. Each time that these children come through, none of them are ever protected, cared for, and like the promise that you make to them is, hey, I'll take care of them. When he told Colossus, I'll take care of your sister Magic, you ain't never seen that bitch ever again.
Did she die?
A lot of children die, and they just gloss over the fact that they died. I feel like she did. But in X-Men 97, Morph died, and that was the only big one that they actually harped on.
I mean, spoiler for people who haven't seen the second season. But as of my most recent watching, the only X-Men I can think of that is actively dead is Gambit.
Yeah, but that wasn't under his watch.
You just tried to throw the book at him for everything that happened while he was off planet, quote unquote, chasing alien booty. That Gambit dying is on the list of the things. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
How are you gonna not blame him for that if you're gonna put everything else at his feet? But
Gambit wasn't a child.
You can't blame him for it.
Now that aside, I mean, as far as the child endangerment goes and the harboring weapons of mass destruction goes, I kind of want to hear what your case for child soldiering is. You want to give me the ages of just the group that you had on screen?
So now, Your Honor, I will give you that a lot of those ages that were on screen were a lot
Pull
older.
it back up. Let's pull it back up. Let's
No,
go through it.
we can go with the ages that they were when they started their tenure. I'm sure we can find that information out real fast.
Why don't they want to pull back up? Yeah, technology.
Even the picture knows. Even the picture knows that you're wrong. The picture knows that you're reaching.
It's not a reach when it's there. It's there because you're putting these children in danger. When you're saying, "Hey, I will keep you safe," and then you're bringing them out. Magic was 15 when she joined the X-Men, much younger than her brother, who was only 19. But because he looks like Colossus does, you don't remember that Colossus is young. You don't remember that Jubilee's 14 when she
He's
comes
nice.
through. You don't.
Colossus was an adult, and most of these mutants, when their powers arise, they are in their teens. This is
Yeah,
when they become a danger to themselves and their family. That's when Charles Xavier shows up.
a lot of
So sorry
mutants
they
don't
can't
make
wait
it
till they're
through Charles
18.
Xavier. Yeah, but what
No,
happens with the ones that he slips through their fingers? Like Spider-Man. Spider-Man's a mutant, and most people like to gloss over
Spider-Man
that.
is not a mutant.
Spider-Man has mutated DNA, and once that spider bit him,
Spider-Man,
he became a mutant. He is classified as a mutant, not just a superhero.
see, classified. He wasn't born that way. Definitely wasn't born
No,
that way.
I
but he's
think
classified as a mutant because his
for the
DNA
sake
keeps
of consistency,
mutating.
I think outside looking in, because most people don't necessarily know the origins of Spider-Man. We know, technically speaking, yeah, he wouldn't count as a mutant because he wasn't born that way. But for anyone who has absolutely no clue which would be in the universe, I could see him just writing him off as a mutant straight up. That would make sense to me.
Except it was in the X-Men 97 canon because Spider-Man went to Professor X after he got hit with more mutation, and he kept mutating further.
Did he?
That was an actual episode.
It wasn't
Yeah.
in X-Men
I
97. That was a crossover in
I don't
Spider-Man.
remember that. I
It
don't
was
remember
But
that
that
in
was in the same
'97. I remember
universe because
Spider-Man
that
showing up
exists
for
that
together.
was the
one,
Spider-Man
like
show. That
maybe
was
two
something
clips when people were just like something was happening all around the world when they showed those couple clips of the Spider-Man and the Avengers and Doctor Strange and all them. But Spider-Man wasn't in there like that. Spider-Man never made it to the X Mansion in
No, he
'97.
never made it to the X-Men show as a speaking role, but Xavier did make it into Spider-Man with a speaking role. The shit was wild. I was like, okay.
But the idea that Spider-Man is still a mutant, the idea that there are mutants that go bad and you allow those mutants because they can't help your goal, the idea that you only harbor and take the best of the mutants, the ones that will actually help further your goal, because the Morlocks are mutants. The
So what
mutants
is
that
his
are
goal
underground,
what is this goal that you keep saying that he's trying to further with a child army? What is the
the
goal?
goal that he's trying to further is equality in the world. Like he wants the same rights and the same everything. I'm not saying that the man is wrong, but I'm saying when you show up with a Black Hawk and 6 different motherfuckers ready to come out and cause weapons of destruction. You have one person that can shoot optic blast. You got a bitch that can read minds and throw you across the room. You got a nigga that comes out with 3 claws in each motherfucking hand. 3 of them.
It, and it'd be a shame if their professor and mentor taught them to be aggressive and attack people when they don't give
Is
in
that
to
not
their
what X Force
demands.
is? Is that not what they do inside of
That's
X
not
Force
what
to
that is
do the
not what
more?
the X-Men do. That is not what the X-Men do, and that is not what Charles Xavier teaches. We're talking about
So what
Charles
is X
Xavier
Force?
and what he teaches.
X-Force is an actual government entity.
No. X Force is an actual team based on the X-Men team to do the missions that the normal X-Men wouldn't get their hands dirty with. That's why Wolverine leads up that team with a revolving team of people.
Such as
It's
who?
an offshoot.
Such as who? Who's
Such
all been
as
on X-Force?
Deadpool, Rogue, Psylocke, Colossus, Magic, uh, I'm trying to think of the ones that actually showed up.
From where
Cable,
we're sitting. I'm annoyed with you. Stop it.
Bishop.
It sounds
Like
like a
it's
bunch of people that are adults and can consent to going on a more dangerous mission than the regular X-Men
oh, you
missions
were
are.
looking for the children. How about Iceman? Because Iceman has been inconsistently aged because of the changing of the timeline. But most likely, people remember Iceman as being the 16-year-old Bobby Drake.
Was he on X-Force as the 16-year-old Bobby Drake, or was he
Yeah,
an adult?
nah,
Ah,
16-year-old X-Force Bobby Drake.
I wish I could Google right now.
I'm I'm looking, and
'Cause I
again,
don't.
the X Force is not the team I was thinking of. I was thinking of the I was thinking of X Factor because for some odd reason the United States government cannot come up with a catchy name even in a fictional universe. But the team that Maul's talking about is a team that was in the 616 universe. Stop splitting off for the love of God.
No, because they actually exist inside of the X-Men 97 canon.
Yes, technically they do. That particular squad is the one that was in the Days of Future Past. That's the name of what the X-Men were at that point in time.
Which also existed in the show because they had a Days of Future
You
Past
keep
episode.
jumping timelines, sir.
But
You are going off the full history of every storyline that you know.
for
Yeah, from
but
X-Men
in the
97.
case
They
in the
had that
case of
The
happen.
X-Men 97 does not have every timeline that you going through.
But in the case of the X Force, Days of Future Past did feature them. They just never named them as such. They were still considered the X-Men men. That being said, they were not under Xavier's leadership at that time. The man was long dead because he had been assassinated. They were under Magneto. So that does not count.
Except that episode featured him going into the past to still team up with Logan, which would still put him in charge of the X-Men because he referred back
That
to
doesn't
and said that
automatically
you
put
are
him in
always
charge of
the
the X-Men.
mm, it's a
That
legal
doesn't
it's a
him being there, him showing up in a different timeline doesn't automatically put him in charge.
It doesn't. It makes him a paradox at that point. Because you remember what actual Logan was doing at the beginning of that episode? He was chilling under a tree with Storm. He wasn't paying any attention to that.
yeah, but he always refers back to the smartest person in the room. Logan never takes charge when there's someone smarter and better at the job than
In
he
that
is.
case, he picked his wife. He's a smart man.
Yeah, but in the case that Captain America's around, who does he always refer back to?
The guy who
The
works
best
for the
leader in
government.
the room.
I'm
In the
failing.
case where
I'm
Cyclops is
failing to
around,
see how this
he
is.
argues with him, but he
It's
always comes back to X-Men 97. Cyclops is the leader.
it sounds like he has a good soldier mentality that he picked up from the US and Canadian armies. You follow chain of command. That chain of, but being present in a different timeline does not automatically put Professor X as that chain of as at the top of that chain.
I don't know.
All right. I think I'm ready to rule because we're getting a little bit off topic here. As far as the child endangerment is concerned, from what it sounds more like negligence at the most. Like, yes, he's sending them on what would he's sending them out to negotiate and things of that particular nature facts. But at the same time, I don't see him sending anyone out with the mandate to actually go start some stuff. And even when it's a situation where the kids have to defend themselves, the kids defend themselves, specifically defend themselves. They don't actually go out of their way to harm anyone. Not to mention, it's because I was asking you about a specific case in particular that you wanted to kind of highlight about anything in regards to the child endangerment. But from what I can remember, anytime that the youngest member of the team, Jubilee, got into any type of issue, it wasn't something that Jubilee went out of her way to do. The one time that she was sent to Genosha, for example, that was supposed to be a vacation spot. And it just so happened to turn into slave labor. When the one time when she first joined the X-Men and she was basically being hunted, she decided to stay with them because they may be forceful in terms of their defense, but they are actually defending her. So when it comes down to keep putting her in danger, I can say negligence, but I do have questions about Jean Grey and how young she was when she joined, because Marvel Girl is a real entity in that. How old was Jean Grey when she joined the X-Men? How old was
I
Cyclops?
think I think initially Jean was like a child when uh her powers first started going out of control, and that's when Professor X came to her. But the missions didn't come till much later in life. Like if you there's a scene in 97, there's a scene where Professor X goes to talk to Jean and her parents, and she's a little girl, like maybe 8 or 9, and he says to her in his mind, "I think all the time too." And if you look at the picture that he keeps in his office, that is a noticeable difference. Maybe she's 16, 17, but she's definitely of age where she knows what she's doing. She's had training with her powers that she now has some level of control over, not complete, but she's put in the work to be able to go out into society and try to help other people.
Were the Greys
Sounds like she's
involved?
grown.
Were the Greys involved in any of this?
Nope.
Nope.
Sounds like she was grown.
Sound like she was abandoned by her parents.
If a telepath comes to me and tells me my daughter's being telepathic and the best way to help her is for you to train her, I'm gonna let her go.
They weren't telepaths. Her parents weren't telepaths. Their daughter
No,
started it. Their daughter started making stuff levitate, and they was like, "This is weird." And then Professor
Okay.
X showed up.
So I'm not
and the
necessarily
nigga in the chair showed up immediately.
referring to the why she left. I'm trying to the why, but more so the circumstances of the relationship between Jean Grey, Charles Xavier, and the Greys after Jean left. Was there any continual line of communication at that point?
Nope.
No, she was abandoned by her parents.
Okay, so
Abandoned is wild. She was
She
taken
wouldn't
into a
be the
boarding.
only
So
one.
are we talking about kidnapping, or are we talking about the relinquish, or are we just talking about parents being deadbeats?
We talking about she was there all them years, and they never came back for her. She was abandoned.
It's a boarding school. What do you do in boarding school?
You
on the
go
road
until you
somewhere?
finish, and then you go back home. You go until the semester or the summer is over, and then you come back home. You don't go and live there for the next 10 to 15 years until you
You do
find
if
a
you become a
husband.
professor.
And if you become what?
A professor, because that's how they refer to her, as professor. Do they not?
Because she became a professor. She became a
Right.
teacher
So
at
that
the
means
school
she
that she
finished
taught at.
boarding school and became a professor.
That was an
Seems like that was
eventuality.
grooming.
I'm still trying to figure out like how he's specifically going out of his way to endanger the kids.
He's
Recruiting
not.
them to join up
The
with this dangerous mission to go out and save the world when the world hates you doesn't seem like that's endangerment.
Is he
the
sending
mission isn't
out?
to go out and save the world. The mission is to teach people who have powers how to control their powers.
So I'm confused on how you do that and not be out here busting heads left and right. Because is that not what they be doing?
That's
Are
not
they
what they
just
be
out
doing.
here
They
showing
often
up
go
with
on
a
peace
community
missions.
outreach month?
They often go on peace missions and rescue missions, and they often end up fighting because people are trying to kill them.
I'm not buying that.
People are trying
Because
to
I've seen these niggas
people are
bust some
trying to
heads.
kill them for simply existing, even when they aren't doing anything wrong, even when they try their best to hide it, like the kid did. And what was his name? Sunstroke or Sunstrike,
Yeah.
like he did in 97. He tried to hide it and he thought he could buy his way off because he had a little money, but they hated him just because he was the way that he was. His own mother gave him away to people that she knew had no love or no care for him. And Professor Xavier took him in and said, "We will teach you to control the things that you can't control, and we'll try to make you as safe as we can. In a world that wants to kill you and your parents will give you away to the people that want to kill you, I will do my best to make you as safe as I can and teach you how to protect yourself." Such a terrible man, this Charles Xavier.
Yeah, for grooming these children and thinking you can save the world too.
I object. This slander. This is just slanderous.
uh,
I don't know. If I'm broke and poor, and you show me a mansion in upstate New York with a full tennis court that's split open so you can take your private jet up out of it.
we'll talk
That's
about
never how it goes.
we'll talk about all of it. We'll talk about the perks here in a couple of seconds because I'm gonna link that to the child soldiers part. As far as endangerment goes, we're gonna downgrade that to negligence, but he is gonna be found guilty of that because, to be fair, the world does not like these children. Stop putting them in a position where they have to defend themselves. That's a lot.
Running
Life
hands
is
on
a
the front
position
line is
where they have to
crazy.
defend themselves.
Say again.
Walking on the street is a position where they have to defend themselves. 90% of the time they get attacked at the X, at 90 is excessive.
Maybe
60% of the time they get attacked at the X Mansion where they are there, usually at night. They
I'm
are
gonna
attacked
I'm
and
gonna
raided
drop
in their
that.
sleep.
I'm gonna drop that to 40. Although you're right, it should have happened way more often. But it's but still, like you're sending them out, even in the 90s and what is essentially cosplay. Like you're gonna draw a certain level of attention to yourselves, and
A little
that's
bit.
kind of my point. Like, no,
Bright ass yellow
they,
suits, like
but see, that's what I'm trying to say. He's not specifically sending them out there to be in danger. He's sending them
He's
out
sending
there.
them out there to try to present a united, we are one people. You know what
But,
make people feel comfortable as a collective? Uniform. When things look the same and they can comfortably put everybody into a group by how they look, which is already part of the racism against the mutants, but that's not what we're talking about at the moment. He dressed them up so we look like a team. We are a uniform, and they say this is what we represent. We
he dressed
represent
them
treating
I
and
will,
people fairly.
I will concede that a uniform does carry a certain amount of authority. Yes, but
but when it's a private uniform of
unfortunately,
your private army,
unfortunately, on the
because
It's
hold on,
not an army.
we will talk about this. That is the third charge. I'm still trying to get through the negligence. My point here is yes, they are on a peacekeeping mission, and but unfortunately, because they are in a uniform, the flip side of that is that they do kind of become a focal point, and if they become the focal point for everything else that's happening around them, and they are put into a position where they have to defend themselves because of it, then that is a little bit naive on Xavier's part for sending them out in the first place, especially just by themselves as kids. So, not endangerment, but he's definitely being negligent for sure. Harboring weapons of mass destruction. I'm struggling to call people weapons. Like that is at a
so
certain
Negasonic Teenage Warhead is what?
a person who makes decisions.
Wolverine is
Yeah.
what?
Again, a person who makes decisions, not necessarily in a
Wolverine is a
sane,
product of the
in
U.S.
a sane
government's.
frame of mind, on account of the fact that yes, he has been weaponized to a certain degree, but
So Omega level
is
mutants being
that something that Charles Xavier did?
no, but having a person who could
but
disrupt.
that no is kind of the crux of this, right? If
Your
it's not
Honor.
something that Charles Xavier did, then I can't hold him responsible.
So maintaining and teaching these people how to master and control their powers means nothing. Because
Not
Storm is a walking catastrophe in herself, and he has that underneath the
not
group.
necessarily in the
And when has that catastrophe struck? Because
you're
from what I remember, before she was,
trying to classify people as not people, and I can't sit here and agree with that charge as it sits. You might have something there. I'm not going to argue with you on it, but you haven't convinced me to classify the people living in the mansion as a weapon versus people.
So people can blow themselves
I
up
would
with a
beg to differ.
suicide bomber. You can have people that can light themselves literally on fire. People that can start an Arctic ice age from
I'm
just
trying to
their
figure
living
out how
room.
many. I'm trying to figure out these are the potential here is very possible, but which of these things have they done? The guy that blew himself up killed a bad guy. You said that. Storm, before she joined the X-Men, was using her powers, but she was bringing water to the drylands and being praised as a goddess. You don't get praised. You don't
What
get
about
praised
Hickman?
as a goddess for hurting people. When did Iceman just start killing off people? He ain't do the
Oh, that was
he ain't
funny.
do the polar vortex.
You lucky because he's never done that in
He has to
'97.
put.
I'm still
Like,
trying to figure out the point where you want the judgment to go down as the people living in the mansion are considered weapons. At that point, then they lose a whole lot of rights, and I can't. No, just no.
I mean, so what was the classification of Wolverine? One more time, Judge. What was his government name? If I can get that written out.
Are you talking about the code name for the project that he was in?
Project Weapon X, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Correct. But again,
So
we're not
turning a
arguing.
human
We're
into
not
a
arguing.
weapon does not
That was
count.
a
It's the same
government.
thing.
That wasn't That wasn't Professor
We're
X. That was
by
the U.S. government that did that. The U.S. government was trying to create a weapon, and they failed.
Would be considered inhumane. Like the project would need,
So
like
is he not harboring the project?
the person who was experimented on after that.
The dehumanization here is crazy.
Crazy though, right? Hold on.
Wow.
That's all right.
Because,
Look. We're throwing
and
out
Your
the
Honor, this is
harboring weapons
only
of
because
mass.
Wolverine is who he is. He's part animal. Does he not qualify as part animal because he has a berserk instinct? He has all the qualities of an animal, just in a human form.
No, there's nothing about his X gene that makes him an animal. His X gene gives him bone claws and gives him a healing factor. He may have
Also not true.
animalistic traits.
And a
The
He may
berserk,
have
the
that
his
berserk could be
berserk
due to the
fury allows
hundreds.
him to
That
become.
berserk could be due to the hundreds of years of fighting that he's done on
the
behalf of
Also not
multiple
true. It's
people's
because of
armies.
this animal instinct.
the point here is we're not dehumanizing the people in the mansion and dropping them to the level of weapons. So we're gonna go ahead and throw out that charge. But building an army of child soldiers, that one's got some weight. We're talking teenagers, man. So ultimately, when you build an army, you do build an army with the purpose. My concern here is that you are building even a peacekeeping legion but multiple members of it are underage and expected to defend themselves if push comes to shove.
That's what happens when you're a black man in America. I mean, when you're a mutant in the United States of the Marvel
Wow,
universe,
this got real
when people
political
see
real quick.
people will see you
Like
different.
out the gate, I was called a Republican. Now it's a black people thing. Like I was waiting on this
It's
whole black
it's
argument to come
all
up.
the same. It's all the same.
Yo,
It's
this
all
is
the same.
criminal. This is happening in an anime court. We put a white man on
You asked
trial,
for
and
this
it instantly becomes black people.
because when who you we all know who that white man is compared to and who he was and who his teaching is modeled after. A black man.
And that black man also believed in busting people upside their motherfucking heads.
That is not what he taught.
That
He
is
taught
exactly what he
peace.
thought.
And no, that you will not besmirch Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. like that. That man was not Malcolm X. He didn't teach to fight. He taught peace.
That's bullshit. That
He
means that
taught
you only
peace and
know
he
the
taught
public
coming together.
speeches and you only know the public stuff. Look deeper into the history. Martin Luther King was about busting niggas' heads up and too. Of course, the end of his reign
That is not the things you
is
believe in and the
absolutely
things you
true.
teach are different.
Listen, just because you remember the speech about him having a dream in the Million Man March does not mean that everything that Brother Martin said was always as peaceful as you would like to believe. You get the very generalized
I
understanding of
also
white
believe him when
racial
he said
history.
that he felt like he led it. I also believe him when he said he felt like he led his people into a burning building by pushing us into segregation. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about Charles Xavier, who
You
actively
fucking
taught
black
people.
people into this. You brought Martin Luther King up. You brought this
What
argument
I
and said this now what we talking
what
about.
I'm saying, what I'm saying is we're talking about a man who everything he modeled his teachings after was peaceful, was to get to peace. It wasn't to overthrow the American government. It wasn't to overthrow humans. It wasn't to place mutants above humans. He just wanted everybody to have a fair shake. Put
And
us
how
all
did
on the
that work
same
out
playing
for you?
field and put us all on the same playing field and let us see what we can do. Sorry we couldn't get to that point because the world was always too afraid to get there. So they always put him on his back. So he always had to defend himself. So he made sure people under him could defend themselves. Because once again, whether they were doing anything or whether they were doing nothing, they were still the targets. So they have to be there. They have to be able to defend themselves. Existing made them a target. So they have to be able to defend themselves.
So he built an army to defend himself.
No, he never built an army. It's
So
not an army.
what is his X-Men then? A team?
A team,
Because
yes. They
my
are
team
not
is
an
only 7
army.
people. Anything over 7 people feels like y'all got a whole gang of y'all. That's a crew. That's an
Nigga,
army
that's
of
not even
y'all.
a full basketball team.
Nah,
That's
my
not
boy,
even a
we
full
don't have a full
basketball team.
basketball team. We got a starting 5. We got a starting 5, injury reserve, and a cheerleader. Mikey's the cheerleader. In case you were wondering, we would never sit Mona Hoke. She's the injury reserve. Just so you know, in my mind, that's how this goes. However, in Charles Xavier's mind, he has an army. He has
No, you say he has an army. You sound a lot like Senator Kelly. You're sounding a lot like Senator Kelly. You're making it seem
Senator
like
Kelly had
something
a
that
lot
is
of good
not.
points.
Senator Kelly was a liar. Senator Kelly was actively trying to commit a genocide. That's who we're siding with? Because he
Hey,
wanted to
I'm
kill
not
all the
saying
mutants. That's what we're doing? That's how we're rolling?
I'm not saying murder anybody. I'm saying hold the man accountable. I'm saying accountability
Hold the
is a
man
thing.
accountable for what? Because you're saying he had an army and he never had an army that invaded any land that I can remember. He
Did
never
they
tried
not
to
invade
take over
Genosha?
anything. Huh?
Did they not invade
Which is
Genosha?
why did he invade Genosha?
You just said you don't remember him invading any place, and now you asking why did he invade Genosha?
Because you said he
Did he
invaded
do it or
Genosha.
did
I
he
didn't
not
say
do it?
that. Why would he do that?
Did he do it or did he not do it? Because now I'm confused on whether or not he did it. Because
You
you just
said
said
he
he did.
did it.
Your
You
Honor, I
said he
can't
did it.
believe
I said
anything this
why did he
man
do that?
said.
Why would he invade Genosha?
I don't know. Why would he do it when you just said you can't remember him doing anything else?
I said that he's never invaded or tried to take over anybody's country. He didn't try to take over Genosha. He was trying to either rescue people or save people.
But if you weren't invited and you showed up with a gang of niggas, what do you think that is? Is that not an invasion?
No.
It
If I'm
would.
coming to get my people back, no, it's not an invasion.
It could still be considered an intervention, not necessarily one in the sense of attacking, but nonetheless,
You showed up in a restricted airspace
it's
with a bunch of people.
the moves that he do be making with the X-Men do feel a little commando-ish, no lie. But at the same time,
A little bit.
we're not necessarily talking about the adult X-Men storming Genosha, for example, for whatever reason that they had to be in Genosha. That is not what the question is. The question is, was this particular army a child soldier army? So
Given that they come in
not
at discriminate ages,
which brings me back to when were these children picked up? Were they, if they were children when they were picked up?
well, discriminately, because both Cyclops was brought in as a child, Marvel Girl was brought in as a child, so Jean Grey was brought in as a child. There were several people picked up and like found at various stages of their lives. Like Storm was younger when she was found by Professor X. So was a lot of the X-Men. And because you find them or they start to manifest around the same time as puberty, it really varies on who hits puberty when.
Okay.
Like
So
personally, I hit puberty at the age of 5. Like started having changes in my body, started noticing, hey, I'm growing hair and my underarms smell. What the fuck is happening? Like,
I'm
but others,
unfortunate.
super unfortunate. I've been wearing deodorant for a very long time.
I digress.
You
So
sure you
we've
don't need to be at
established
the expansion too?
what's that?
You sure you don't need to be at the expansion too?
Nah.
Maybe because my babies are smart as fuck. Like, you should see the little strong man downstairs.
All right.
I
One last
mean, maybe
thing.
y'all all should go and get trained up so y'all can be the best y'all can be.
No, because I'm not putting in child soldiers. They're going to go play sports and make money. One's going to baseball, one's going to soccer. I got plans and intent.
So my last question, because I want to make sure that I do a fair ruling on this last one, because we have like in X-Men 97 Jubilee, who, let's not mix words here, she was 15 in episode 1. My question to the defense here is, how do we deal, like, is it a situation where Jubilee is an aberration, or because we know like Storm, Cyclops, and Jean Grey, they were some of the originals that he had as far as like teaching was concerned. When did they have to start going on missions? When was it a situation where where are we in a position in terms of, is this Professor X grooming them to actually go out on missions, or is this self-defense training? I'm trying to keep line here, and that's what I'm trying, because the way that the older X-Men move in regards to, what they get told, it does reek of a operation to operation basis. It does reek kind of vigilanteism. It does kind of go almost spec ops type deal. But when does that aspect of it start? Is this a pipeline that he's trying to generate, you know?
I feel like it's speculative to assume that he's building a child army for some reason, because we have no reason that he would do that. Professor Xavier makes his intentions extremely clear at many different points throughout all different timelines. His purpose is to bring peace. Is for people who are like him, whether they look like him or they look, you know, more mutant-ish, for all people to have a fair chance in the country that's supposed to be the greatest country in the world, that is built off all those good things, multiculturalism. He wants for the people like him to be able to be safe, despite how the country and the rest of the world feels about it. His goal is for people to be safe. Sometimes being safe means that you have to defend yourself.
Okay. Mm, yeah. Yeah, no, he might not necessarily be meaning to build a child army, but the way he moves, it looks real child army-ish.
Like they're
Like,
trained up ahead of time to then fill the spots as adults. So it might not be that they come out as children, but like they're definitely trained young. They're brought in, trained, and then sent out on missions as they're old enough and responsible enough with their powers. So it's not an age, it's a responsibility. And how far along are you in your training? So, just just saying, Your Honor. The Jubilee went from you came in to now you on damn near every mission. Just.
they still exclude Jubilee from the explicitly dangerous stuff. I don't remember this little girl falling out of a jet, for example, at the beginning of the show. You
No,
know,
but she was still definitely in the later missions, like especially in the revamped newer season. I
that's what I'm
definitely
saying. Like,
remember.
even in those
Yeah, she
missions,
was on missions, but on a couple of those, well, the first mission that she went on, where she was attacked, where she was trying to recruit a kid who knew he was a mutant, was trying to hide that he was a mutant, but he was found. His parents gave him up.
which are usually
Nobody else wanted to
right,
protect him.
those are the
So
assignments.
Jubilee stepped in because she was around his age and she could understand. She was there to relate, not to fight. Sorry she got
Yeah,
kidnapped. Sorry she got kidnapped and jumped by racists while she was trying to relate to another teenager.
That's what I'm saying. That's why Charles Xavier is negligent, because he's sending her out there even with the best of intentions to go talk to another mutant, but she's constantly having to defend herself every time. The
Because
fact
that's
constantly
just the
getting
state of
picked
the
up,
the
world.
fact,
constantly getting
and
picked up.
then
He
the
can't
fact
do
that
nothing. He
the thing
can't
that
do nothing
concerns
about
me
that.
is the
Should
fact
he
that
lock her away?
what's
That's what
that?
the world would want. Should he lock her away then? Lock her
I'm not
away until
saying
she
that,
turns
but
18? That's
I'm
what the
not
world
saying
would
that
want.
she's doing that. I'm like, she's a school age child. This kid needs to be in a position where she's either A, being homeschooled, which she is essentially, or B, in a position where she's going to school and not necessarily locked up. And while I agree with you, yeah, she needs to be able to go outside. She can go outside without drawing attention to herself. Going to talk to another mutant specifically to recruit him is something that is kind of a I don't know. It seems a little bit out of the purview for that, you know.
I
So
mean, talking to people like you, talking to people that are like you, it shouldn't be dangerous. They don't look different in any sense of the form. They
facts,
look perfectly normal humans. So why shouldn't they just be able to get? They were found out. They were found out.
and
It's
thus
not like she was
threatened
just out here showing off.
to defend
I'm
himself.
not saying that the world is fair and that like it's all
I'm
rainbows, but like it is what it is. But when you're putting these children out here and like allowing people to see them, view them, hate them on a grand and public scale, then yeah, that's dangerous as fuck.
I'm sorry.
so
Sometimes revolution is dangerous.
I spelled that all
Sometimes
the
trying to change the world is
way.
dangerous because people don't want it to
Um,
change.
I think I'm ready to rule though. In regards to building a child soldier army, we're gonna find him innocent because of, hold on, wait a minute, we'll get there. Calm down. We're gonna find him innocent because of the fact that I can't establish where he's actually switching over to sending them on actual vigilantism missions. From what I can tell, is with his currently youngest member, he has not specifically gone out of his way to send her to some shit that's out of control dangerous. It just ends up turning into that way. That being said, knowing how old Aurora Monroe was when she joined his school, knowing how old Jubilee was, knowing how old Cyclops was, knowing how old Jubilee is, it's still reeking of a pipeline to have your own combat wing ready and willing, ready here and ready to go. Even if it's a situation where you're no longer here, you are starting a paramilitary group one way or the other. So we can go ahead and switch that charge to building an illegal army in general. And yes, he can go down for that. But in regards
I
to,
feel like there's only a problem when the United States government don't need them to go fight Magneto.
I mean,
That's the only time
that
it's a
is a
problem.
problem for the United States government to deal with, and in this timeline, President Kelly's problem, not mine. So mine is to say, hey, is he making an army? It's looking a lot like he's making an army. It's not growing very quickly, and he's doing it on his own budget, but he's got the tech involved. He's got multiple military apparatus. The Blackbird is a military jet, a stealth one at that. It should be incredibly illegal to own one privately. So
Show me the law that says he can't.
I'm gonna have to double check that one because that's why. Who has as many decommissioned Blackbirds as the X-Men have? Because they've gone through at least four. At least four.
At least, yeah, at least four.
Not to mention the own private wing of jets that they have for like personal use that apparently have the range to cross the goddamn Atlantic.
Which is crazy because it's hopeless technology himself.
So no, he's definitely creating an army. I don't know about the child soldiers. I don't have enough proof, but it's definitely a concern. But yeah, we're gonna have to go ahead and call him guilty on that front.
So,
I mean, I would argue Wood is an army, but okay, I'll accept the verdict.
Sounds like I win.
I mean, you got 2 out of 3. And really, it's more like 1.5 out of 3.
Yeah.
That's all I need.
It really sounds to me like we're at a draw, sir.
Sounds like I won. Anyway, we will see you guys back on the next episode of Blurred X Trap House on Saturday. This has been fun. We've come to a verdict. Professor X is guilty. Or as Jay Will says it, we can call it a draw.
I feel guilty on 2 things. That sounds like guilty to me, but all right, whatever.
Sounds like guilty to me too. But what else? This has been a great way to kick off and the end of our weekend and a great way to start our week. If y'all are looking for more of this, we will be back Friday taking over HNIC's airways with trivia starting at, I want to say 9, and then cycling right back to do more Blurred X Trap House on Saturday at 7:30, and then another episode of Anime Court next week. We will get it together and be back by 7:30 and not by 8 this time. That was on me. I had to go get Panda Express.
Parenting, man, that's what it is. Just
Parenting. The kid only eats honey walnut shrimp from there, and it's just cheaper to pick it up. Like, I was not about to pay $63 for
Are we letting the kids eat shrimp right now with the whole recall? Who knows where they source that shrimp right now?
Listen, I'm gonna have to let it rock because he was getting on my nerves telling me he wanted a fortune cookie.
Right,
so
man. If you get one that starts, developing mutant powers, we've established, yes, technically.
Every morning we wake up as a family and check if our spider powers work. Like,
All I'm saying is don't call us at the X Mansion. Don't call us at the X Mansion. That's all I'm saying. Y'all figure that
I
out.
won't. If I get spider powers, I'm taking over the world. I'm calling you to tell you I'm robbing the bank close by. Like, I need a place to stash the money.
Place to cash the money.
Anyway, as I was saying, I am all your favorite friendly neighborhood menace. You catch me every Saturday, Sunday. I'll be back here. Maybe not every Sunday. I'd be outside doing ball head hope. But yeah, y'all catch us here at Blurred X Trap House next Saturday, 7:30. Trivia on Friday, kicking off our weekend starting at Friday 7. I forget what Britt said that the Friday at 9. Forget what she said the topic was, but it's probably there. And on 7:30 next week, we'll be back for another episode of Anime Court. We'll get back to you with promo and topics, and yeah, we'll be at it. Fellas, y'all want to give out socials? Anything from y'all?
I mean, aside from the fact that I'm here every week and you can catch me here at this thing, that is my Instagram. It works. I actually do have a couple of things up from Anime NYC on there, so go ahead and check it out. Otherwise, Twitch incoming. I'm just trying to build stuff, but later.
Yeah. Clearly, you see how long it took me to build the Funko wall. Technical difficulties. I would put up J Will's promo, but it will be up following the show to say where he's coming for his charity event that's coming up.
Coming up this Tuesday. Show starts at 7, $10 at the door. 1467 Gratiot Avenue, downtown Detroit.
Downtown Detroit. If you dare, you won't want to miss it.
Expect to see you there. Go support my boy. It's for a good cause.
If you in the 313
for a great cause.
If you can't make it to 313 and you can make it back next week, we'd love to have you for trivia starting at 9 on Friday, and then Blurred X Trap House Saturday 7:30, and then another episode of Anime Court. So we're gonna run this back. We'll see what we got next week, and we'll see all you guys later. Peace.